Yes, Keillor. The very name, the very name.
Keillor.
We brought Fred up to Alaska so he could pick up and polish some of his sound effects so that we can, tell stories about this in the future. We want to put him in a float plane. Float plane going over, landing in a wilderness lake, putting down there in a lake. There he goes. Stand out there on a float and cast for salmon. Going for that salmon that grizzly bear thought he had in his paws right now. Now he's swimming out towards the float plane. Better maybe try and start that thing up here. Would be whoa, what's wrong? Oh my gosh. Panic. The sound of panic. Okay, let's draw the curtain on that scene. I don't want to see a man injured severely. Let's not go. We brought him down to the state fair here so that he can go to go see the giant vegetables. So he can try to lift a cabbage. Bench press a cabbage. We can also lift a Brussels sprout. So that he can walk into a pumpkin, a 1,200-pound pumpkin carved out. You walk.
Hello. Where's the ceiling? I don't even see the other side of the pumpkin.
It's a beautiful thing. They have a petting zoo here. It's unlike other petting zoos. They have that, and they have a cougar. A moose. A grown moose. Are you sure that's a moose? That sounded caribou-like to me. What's the difference? That's a caribou?
That's a moose.
That's a moose. What's a caribou? And what would be a wapiti? And all right, take your word for it. I mean, what do I know? Fred grew up in the South, so he knows nothing about life here in these northern parts. And so that's why we have to make sure we get him back before the snow falls, which could be tomorrow. Blizzard moving in. Keillor. Yes. Heavy snow. Carnivorous animals moving into the outskirts of Keillor. Whoever is responsible for Fred, make sure he gets on a plane. Rent him a car or something. Give him a dog sled or a snowmobile or whatever. Because he's from the South, so he knows nothing about any of this. He grew up making sound effects in his room where he would sit reading novels, but he made sound effects so his parents would think he was normal. He'd sit and make the sound of a banjo and a coon dog and
Get him, Blue! Bring you, boy!
Make the sound of grits, so his parents thought he was eating grits. He was a troublemaker in school, as you might expect, seeing how neatly he's dressed. That's to hide a man with a cruel imagination. He would sit behind his fellow students as they were taking SAT tests, the test that determines the rest of your life. Remember, controls whatever will happen to you for the next 50 years. SAT, all in one afternoon. And he would sit and make dripping sounds right behind them. Or try to. He would make intestinal sounds. Those kids did not get into Yale or Princeton. They went to small technical schools. They became dog groomers.
Settle down, boys.
No, he learned how to do alarms, all kinds of alarms. Those and the other kind. And those growly ones too. So school was evacuated every day until one day there was an alarm one day, and people said, well, that's just Fred, they said. And so that was the day the school blew up. It blew up. The boiler blew up. But this was the day when the town was trying to get in the Guinness Book of World Records with the world's largest Jell-O mold. And it was 5 acres of Jell-O 4 feet deep. And it was a grape Jell-O with sliced bananas and maraschino cherries and crushed walnuts and Cool Whip on it. And the kids who were blown in the air landed in the Jell-O, so nobody was injured. It was fantastic. He went to Hollywood. There was a Hollywood producer who came through town on a train. And,
Hollywood, kid. You need to go to Hollywood.
And Fred was down there by the tracks, and Fred was doing this banjo sound. Or no, he was doing a saxophone sound. And then he was doing a sitar sound. That's a koto. That's a koto. That's a koto. There you go. That's your sitar. No, you need me here. You need me. So he got on the bus, the train, did I say? Yes, the train. Train, that's a train, you're right. And went to Hollywood, and they put him right to work doing sound effects for westerns. He could do horses, and he could do gunshots, of course. He could do ricochets. He could do wonderful ricochets. He could do that important sound of a man leaping off a porch roof onto the saddle of a running horse. Well, they moved him up because he did gunshots so well. They moved him up to do. He did all of the Normandy invasion, the whole thing, beginning to end, everything. From that, he was hired by the National Rifle Association to do their commercials. He was, yes, stepped over a line there, I think, but it's okay. You watch your side of the crowd really closely and I'll watch my side. He was hired then to do the sinking of the Titanic, the whole sinking.
Women choke now, wrong.
You're starting in the second reel.
8 barrels and all is well. Women and children to the lifeboats. That's where it goes. Women and children to the lifeboats.
And then they hired him to do a submarine movie. World War II, Run Silent, Run Deep. The submarine went down, and that's where he made his mistake in this soundtrack, because there were humpback whales who were circling. And they were supposed to be singing a dirge for a fallen submarine. But when they played it back at high speed, the whales were singing "Roll Me Over in the Clover." Weigh me down and do it again. That was not good. Fired. And that's when we took him in. We took him into our show. We did the best we can with him. We brought him here to Alaska, where he spent yesterday morning taking a helicopter ride up over Mount Denali. Not the mountain alley, but the Mount Denali.
Wow, this is fantastic.
Wow, there he was. And then the chopper seemed to develop motor problems as they were hovering over a glacier. They were 10,000 feet in the air, and the pilot of the helicopter jumped out.
What?
He had a parachute. He jumped out. And Fred had to pilot this, and he'd done helicopter sound effects, but he'd never actually piloted one before. So naturally he was panicky, but he got it down. It landed on a glacier that, as it turned out, a bull moose considered to be his territory. That is a moose, right? Yeah, don't make a mistake on this now, because then the story won't make any sense. There he is, and so he was nosing toward, but as he came towards the helicopter, Fred could see he wasn't charging the helicopter. He wasn't angry, he was in pain. He was in pain. There was a thorn in between his hooves. His